Thank you very much. And my particular thanks to Andreas and Nicholas and Vivian, because of their relentless communication, electronic communication with us, has made this a great success, the exhibition. Actually, in my, I practice architecture. I'm not a theoretician. In the beginning, what I felt was that I need a context. What kind of architecture shall I do? And the context is, I found that the best way to describe us is probably more from a spiritual and cultural point of view. And this, I was going through a book where, in reference to South Asian literature, human beings secured things from Kalpadruna. This is the kind of mindset that I started having to understand what kind of architecture I should do. Kalpadruna is a wishing tree. Human beings were getting everything from that tree, and unfortunately they lost the tree and started living in other trees. And in the course of time, they learned to chop trees and made different architectural supports, the column, the beam, etc. And also in Hindu, South Asian, I'm sorry to use that term Hindu, South Asian architecture, the cosmic nature is in the classification of wooden pillars. And, classification of wooden pillars. And I was talking about Kalpadruna and how they lost the tree and they started living in other trees. And when people learned to chop trees, they started making, there is quite a lot of similarity to Greek kind of way of doing architecture, what's happening in Greece. The cosmic nature is in the classification of wooden pillars, like Vishnu Kando. Kando is the tree trunk. Vishnu Kando have 8 sides, Brahma Kando, pillar with 4 faces, and Rudra Kando, round pillars. The idea of this is to shape of construction over and around wooden pillar seem to suggest a close resemblance to shady tree providing shelter to the earliest people from sun and rain. The reason, the cosmic nature of these pillars is to kind of recreate that feeling of living in a tree as the shade from sun and rain. Cultural and spiritual architecture can be better understood if we study the development of vernacular architecture in context of its geography, climate. A large part of Bangladesh is submerged due to flooding during rainy season. Coastal belt is subject to severe cyclonic storm. Samples division of material procedures can be applied to better understand the development of vernacular architecture. These material procedure divisions are tectonic of the frame. It is important to explain tectonic because tectonic is from tecton, which is a Greek word, which is derived from Sanskrit word taxan. It's a kind of referring to the crafts of carpentry. Stereotomic is a compressive mud, brick. You will see the brick mud wall houses in above flood level in Bangladesh. Anthropological dimension of load bearing, you see that there are two types of houses that developed in rural areas of Bangladesh. One type is in the flooded zone, the other type is above flood zone. And in flooded zone, there is a need for artwork. And artwork in architecture is such an important thing. Rosemary Blatter has said artwork is fundamental to architecture. And both type of material procedures, stereotomic and tectonic, is used. What happened? Am I doing anything wrong? Yeah. Both type of material procedures are in use in above flooded zone. There is a mud wall, and there is also tectonic architecture, the pillar, the frame, all those things. This is the kind of information that one would like, I was getting, to have a feel of what kind of architecture element or architecture practice I should have. And the other area which is of extreme weather is the cyclonic belt, which is the southern part of the shore area where there is an extreme cyclone and they destroy everything. This is the destruction after a cyclone. And in this area, what we studied this. This is part of a study we had made ourselves. We had made this study ourselves, and it is in a book form called Battling the Storm. You can download this and find. And we found that in houses, the people...
Please talk in the microphone, otherwise...
Oh, sorry. We found in the houses that there is the orientation of these houses are the shortest side is toward the windward direction always, and the houses typically have a ghar, which is the sleeping area, and peripheral and it's surrounded by poschati. The reason I felt was because they didn't want, during the extreme weather condition, the rainwater coming into the sleeping area. Rainwater, because the walls are all bamboo mat of the local material. So this is a particular house that I want to show you. I also had done some cyclone shelter. In the process, I saw this building, and the cyclone shelter that was built by the government. This is an area where the segregation of sex is very important. This is a very fundamental area, maybe. And women would not be with male together during the cyclone. So no women would use the cyclone shelter. And there were 200 women, or 150, in this house. The reason it withstood the cyclone, because it was built strongly, and it was built according to the rules of the storm that will hit the walls. And the other most important thing is, you see there are two kinds of roof. The ghar, where they sleep, has a hip roof, and the poschati has a lower roof all around it. The reason being, this will kind of, the strong wind will break down. The lower roof will break the strong wind, and let me show you the detail. Lower wind, this is the kind of section of the house. And when the wind comes and strikes, it breaks down. Poschati is being low, it breaks the wind force, and the hip roof, I think they've learned it automatically on observation and everything. So this is the kind of house form they developed in the process. This is a picture I took of Dhaka city. This is a cityscape. This is two cityscape. And it was really, I was wondering that it's basically a copy of the developed world architecture, where there is a complete, the architects were not giving enough thoughts to power requirement into the building and the orientation of these buildings. So that, I think, an embedded energy of the materials that are used here is probably not sustainable. Actually, I find, after having seen this kind of cityscape, I was going through books. I found Hans Sedlmayr wrote in 1941 on inorganic and organic materials, use of materials which are organic and use of materials which are inorganic. Quote, "The shift of man's spiritual center of gravity towards the inorganic, his feeling of his way into the inorganic world, may indeed legitimately be called cosmic disturbance in the microcosm of man, who now begins to show one-sided development of his faculties. At the other extreme, there is a disturbance of microcosmic relationship, a result of special favor and protection which the inorganic now enjoys. Almost always at the expense of, not to say ruin, of the organic, the raping and destruction of the earth, the nourisher of man, is an obvious example and one which in its turn reflects the distortion of the human microcosm from the spiritual." Unquote. And with this background, I will go to my own practice now. I would like to show some works. I will cover these 4 or 5 works, which in little details, and I've shown the location of these buildings. This is the house in my village, which was built because our 2 children were being brought up in the city. They will never know what Bangladesh is really. It's a poor country, it's kind of, infrastructure is poor. They will never understand this. So we used to go after building, we should take the children at least twice a year to this place. And these are kind of typical pattern of how village houses are gathered together. So this house was designed, this is the surrounding land and the village, and the house is designed, there is a canopy connecting to the terrace that we created upstairs. This canopy is kind of a symbolic reference to the maybe first hut, maybe Semper's hut or what, which is only to protect you from rain and sun. The terrace is this, and part of the terrace is covered. This much is covered, and the rest of it is open. And from here, you can see 3.5, 4 miles beyond, and in between our house and the village in a distance, there is agricultural land. So this is really a fantastic experience, sitting here, particularly during rainy season. This is a flooded zone. So these are some of the pictures of the house. This house is only 900 square foot, means 30 square meter. This house in 2 floors is only 30 square meter. This is the land is in Dhaka is extremely expensive. So there is a tendency to build as much built area to kind of get the land price kind of divided up. This is a developer-built housing, which is sold to buyers. So this is, the house is on slightly two-thirds of an acre. It's built, there are 46 apartments. And what we have done, as you can see this portion, it's kind of reverses on the south. The idea is to get this wind, prevailing wind, go through that, and in the process also go down. So to make the environmentally more acceptable. And the building is, there is a little history of why I have done the details like this. Brick is a heavy material, as you know. It gives a very strong heaviness to the structure. I was wondering how I can break that heaviness. So what I've done is created elements, which are verandas, which kind of cantilevers out, and reduce that heavy feeling of brickwork, because it's a housing area. And
look at the screen.
I have to look at it. It's okay. Are you having any problem? There is a...
It's recorded.
Oh.
So that's why you have to speak in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You're on YouTube now, Bashirul. As you speak.
Okay. The plan has a interior court, because there are so many apartments. To get wind and light in every room, I had to design it around the courtyard. And I have to design it around the courtyard. And I found, because it's very near to a very busy road, so in the beginning I planted a lot of trees, which are now about 30, 40 feet high. But I was talking to people who lives on the other side. This is the other side of the apartment, other side meaning beyond the courtyard on the other side. It's a kind of similar thing. They say that they don't have any noise, because it is the busiest road. The continuous trucks are going there. I was wondering why the sound doesn't go that on the other side. How does it break down? I haven't figured it out as yet, but I should probably. And you can see that on the fourth floor and the seventh floor level, there are breaks on two sides to get the wind flow from southeast towards the other side. This is on the slides section. This is the interior courtyard, that one. This is a school where both my children went to. This was not like this. So the owner of the school came to me, said, we would like to build a school. And the land was kind of not very straight. And there is a depressed area in the middle of there was a kind of a pond. So I calculated if I fill it up with sand, it will be very expensive. Instead of doing that,
You're going the wrong way.
Oh, sorry. Instead of doing that, this was the depression. We have created a kind of a gallery space. and the roof above is above beyond 4th floor, and this is how the school was. This is the gallery. This is the gallery, and this was actually the biology room, which they can grow their plants on this side. This is a university. I'll go quickly because I think I've taken too much time. This is a university which is only on 2 acres of land, and I designed it for 7,000. I'm told that they're taking now 12 to 1,300 students, which is obviously the building is not work after a few years. I created a courtyard for children, for the students to move around and sit when there is. It's built only on, as I said, only on 2 acres of land. This is an Ain Bhavan, means law faculty in Chittagong University. It was a land which was 16 feet from one side to the other. So it's a slope land. So what I have done is I kept the slope. Without disturbing the slope, it was built inside. There was an auditorium. And this is an iconic building. It's for Chayanot Bhavan, which is cultural producer like us. They also they do music and dance. So I have to be careful of the material use and even the windows, little more fragmented. This is the school. Again, this was a very small area also. There was an auditorium also. There's a cafeteria. There's a pedestrian entry going to here. This is a training center which is very low budgeted. It was built with 1.8 million takas. So, this is the building. This is another NGO project. They were doing pisciculture in a small area in the rural areas, and the special requirement on the roof was the community that was doing the pisciculture. They only have monthly meeting, so it was not possible to build a covered space for them. So they will come and meet here. In case of rain, they quickly can go under the protection. This is a cyclone shelter, which was, I think in an exhibition there was another cyclone shelter, which was selected for. This is another cyclone shelter I did, which was used as a school when there is no storm. And this is a high-rise building. This is another high-rise building I've done.
I think that's your last slide.
Okay. Thank you so much.